Hello, my name is Isaiah, and I'm here with Balloon Event Bureau, or Balloon Event Agency. And I just want to have a short word about balloons and biodegradability. And now, when I'm talking about biodegradable balloons, I'm talking about latex balloons, balloons made out of latex rubber, which comes from trees. You take the tree sap, you treat it a little bit, and you get a latex rubber balloon. Now, there's a lot of information out there saying that latex balloons are not biodegradable. From what I've read in multiple studies, this is not the case. Balloons are biodegradable. Now, sometimes they can take a short amount of time, a few months to a long time, a few years, depending on the environment they're in. If they were inflated, if they were not inflated beforehand, all these things, there's multiple factors. Now, just to give you an idea, just length of time does not mean much, because I've got something here. If you can see, this is my 2017 day planner, which I really didn't use, and I've learned to stop buying these because I use Google, whatever. Anyway, so here's a day planner, 2017, very clear. As you say, it's printed on paper, normal paper, some basic ink, nothing glossy, nothing shiny, and it's perfectly good, perfectly fine paper, perfectly usable. Now, paper, as we know, is biodegradable. If I took this outside, threw it out in the woods, came back 3 years later, it would have completely fallen apart, rotted. There may be one or two little pieces of cardboard left, maybe some of the metal wire there, but this would be gone. Now, we all know paper falls apart, biodegrades, but when it sits inside my office, up on the shelf, away from dirt, away from microorganisms that could eat it, it holds a lot better. Now, same thing with balloons. Now, balloons that are kept uninflated in a dark spot in climate-controlled atmosphere can last for a very long time. But once they're inflated, they last a lot less time, and it depends completely on the environment they're in, on how quickly they break down. One of the main ways they break down is by light. Balloons break down from light, from sunlight, from UV light, they break down. Now, if you keep a balloon out of light, they will take longer to break down than if they were in light. It's just the nature thing. If you keep them away from microorganisms that would eat the rubber, there's over 50, then of course they won't break down if there's nothing there to eat them. So there's a couple of things. And then when you inflate the balloon, you stretch it out and you make the material thinner, which means it can break down quicker. And when you buy balloons, they're often coated with a thin layer of a waxy, completely safe substance, like a wax like you put on fruit, to help keep them from breaking down too soon. Now, here's my examples. This right here is what we call a fantasy flower. It is balloons on wire shaped into a flower. Very nice, very cool, very pretty. I made this in 2017, the same year my day planner was printed. Now, as you see, it looks pretty good. Not quite as shiny as it was new, but it looks pretty good. Now, why is this looking so good? Well, I had this in a dark box in a climate-controlled atmosphere, sitting in my office, kept safe and good. And it's well preserved because, well, it's not out in the dirt, it's not surrounded by microorganisms, and it's avoiding sunlight. Now, here's one that, as you can see, there's a little bit of a difference. What's different? These were made on the same day, within minutes of each other. Same time, same day, within minutes of each other. So, why is this so much more broken down, degraded? Well, this was actually just sitting in my office over there on the shelf. Now, I'll add a picture in the final thing of where it sits, and just sat there on the shelf in the light for the last 3 years. Now, again, it takes longer because it wasn't out in the dirt mixed in with microorganisms, etc. But as you can see, it's gotten brittle. If you rub here, it falls apart. It feels a little bit sticky. It's completely degrading. And you see deeper in here, even inside where it's not as well lit, it's starting to lose structural integrity, etc. Still has some stretch to it, but here's the thing. If you look at this one feels almost as good as the day I made it. But also, if you see here, on the edges, the balloon is really stretched out. That's where it's thin. This degraded from the edges inward because that's where it was thin. So again, if the balloon is dropped without being inflated out in the wild, it's going to take a lot longer to degrade than it would after it's been inflated, because it gets thin. Because whenever you inflate a balloon, if you've inflated a balloon full size and then you let all the air out, you will see that it will have stretched out and stay stretched out from the original size. That means it's thinner, it degrades quicker. So that's it. Just a little note that yes, balloons are biodegradable. There's a whole bunch of different microbes on there. There's a whole bunch of different processes. It can take from a shorter amount of time to a longer amount of time, and it completely depends on the environment, just like paper. Paper biodegrades quicker in the dirt outside than it does sitting on the shelf in an office somewhere. So anyway, that was all. You have a good day. Bye-bye.